Welcome back to Titan's Legacy. Previously, we laid the foundation of Rockefeller's mindset. But today, we go deeper into his ruthless strategies on risk and borrowing. If you are ready to master the game of money, let's unlock the next letter. Having the determination to compete. February 19, 1901. Dear John, I have bad news for you. Mr. Benson passed away just last night. I'm very sad. Mr. Benson was my former rival and one of the few adversaries I respected, and I was deeply impressed by his extraordinary talent, tenacity of will, and graceful demeanor. To this day, I remember the joke he made to me after our alliance was formed. He said, "Mr. Rockefeller, you are an unrelenting and perfect predator, and losing to those bad guys will make me very sad, because it's like a robbery, but it's a joy to play against a disciplined guy like you." At that time, I couldn't tell whether Benson was complimenting me or criticizing me. I told him, "Mr. Benson, if you can replace the predator with the conqueror, I think I will be happy to accept it." He smiled. I deeply admire those warriors, who are still fighting bravely in the face of the enemy. Mr. Benson is such a person. Before Benson became my opponent, I had just defeated the largest railroad company in the United States, the Pennsylvania Railroad, and successfully overpowered the fourth and major railroad company in the United States, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. In this way, along with my most loyal allies, the Erie Railroad and the New York Central Railroad, all four major railroad companies in the United States have become instruments in my hands. At the same time, Standard Oil's pipelines extended to the oil fields bit by bit, giving me absolute control over all the major oil lines, connecting the wells to the main rail. Frankly speaking, at that time, my influence had extended to every corner of the oil industry, such as oil extraction, oil refining, transportation, and the market. I had the power to make oil refineries go bankrupt. But some people ignore my authority, such as Mr. Benson. He is an ambitious businessman, who is laying a pipeline from Bradford Field to Williamsport to rescue the independent oil producers who are desperate to break free from my shackles for fear of being overwhelmed by me. John, any competition is not an easy game. It's a dynamic game that requires close attention and constant decision-making, or you'll lose if you don't pay attention. Mr. Benson is causing trouble, and I have to get him to stop. At first, I used a set of apparently not very clever tactics to start a contest with Benson. I bought a narrow piece of land along the Pennsylvania state border from north to south at a high price, trying to stop Benson's progress, but Benson took a detour. Then I used the power of my allies to demand that the railroad companies never let any oil pipelines cross their railroads, and Benson managed to break through again. In the end, I wanted to use the power of the government to stop Benson, but it didn't work, and I just watched Benson become a hero. I know I have a formidable rival, but he can't shake my determination to compete, because that 110-mile pipeline is my greatest threat. If the oil is allowed to flow unimpeded to New York, then Benson and the others will replace me as the new owner of the New York refining industry, and the same amount will cause me to lose control of the Bradford Field. This is something I cannot allow. My real goal is to get what I want without paying too much, not letting Benson and the others mess around, and destroy the market I've worked so hard to build. It's my life. So when that serpent was about to start surging, I proposed to Benson that I wanted to buy their stock, and unfortunately, they refused. This angered a lot of us. Mr. O'Day, who oversees the company's pipeline operations, is going to destroy it by force to punish those who don't know what to do. I hate this wicked and contrived idea. Only incompetent people would do such disgusting deeds, and I told O'Day, "Kill your stupid idea." I never thought I would lose, but even if I lose, the only thing I should do is to lose with integrity. If anyone can get behind the scenes without getting caught, he will almost certainly gain a competitive advantage. However, evil and immoral behavior is so dangerous that it will cost him dignity, and possibly even jail time, and no deceitful and unethical behavior can last long except for a sound business strategy. It only destroys the bigger picture and makes the future more difficult, if not impossible. We must pay attention to rules, because rules create relationships. Relationships lead to long-lasting business, and good deals create more deals. Otherwise, we will end our good fortune early. By my nature, when I meet competition, I destroy competitors, but I don't need a shady victory. I want a happy and complete victory. Just as Benson was complacent and enjoying his success, I launched a series of attacks on him that he was overwhelmed. I sent people to send bulk orders to storage tank manufacturers, asking them to guarantee production and delivery on time, leaving them with no time to care for other customers, including Benson. Without storage tanks, oil producers can only extract the crude oil and dump it into the wilderness. At the same time, I slashed the price of pipeline transportation, attracting a large number of refiners, who rely on Benson to transport crude oil. An excellent commander will not attack the bunker that has nothing to do with him, but will do his best to destroy the bunker that is enough to capture the whole city. Every round of my attacks hit the spot where Mr. Benson was out of fuel, and I was the victor. Less than a year after the construction of what was called the longest oil pipeline in the world, Mr. Benson surrendered, and he offered to make peace with me. I know this is not their intention, but they know very well that if they continue to fight against me, they will only lose even worse. John, every crucial competition is a battle that decides fate. To retreat is to surrender. Going backwards will become a slave. Since war is inevitable, let it come. In this world, the competition will not stop for a moment, and we will not have time to rest. All we can do is to take the steely determination to the challenges and competitions that come with them, and keep our spirits high and enjoy them. Otherwise, good results will not be produced. To win in the competition, it is more critical that you stay alert. When you constantly see your opponent trying to weaken you, that is the beginning of the competition. At this time, you need to know what you have and what you need to know that friendliness and warmth may harm you, and then it is the skill of using all the resources to win. Of course, if you want to win in the competition, courage is not the only aspect of winning, but also strength. Crutches cannot replace strong feet. We have to rely on our own feet to stand up. If your feet are not strong enough to support you, you should not give up and admit defeat, but should work hard to strengthen and develop your feet, making them work. I think Mr. Benson would agree with me in heaven. Love, your father. The sixth letter, Mortgage for the Future. April 18, 1899. Dear John, I can understand why you always feel a little uneasy about using my money to go to the stock market. Because you want to win, but you are afraid of losing in that risky world. And the money you lose is not yours, it is borrowed, and you have to pay interest. This feeling of not being able to lose seems to have ruled me from the beginning of my business, and even after I became more successful. So, every time I took a loan, I was torn between caution and risk, struggling. And even at night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed and started to figure out how to repay the debt. It is often said, people who take risks often fail. But after the fear of failure, I can always calm down and decide to borrow money again. In fact, in order to progress, I had no other way to do it. I had to go to the bank for a loan. Borrowing money is not a bad thing. It won't make you bankrupt, as long as you don't see it as a lifebuoy and only use it in times of crisis. As a powerful tool, you can use it to create opportunities. Otherwise, you will fall into this quagmire of fear of failure, and let fear tie down the arms that could have made you achieve success. Borrowing money is to create good luck. If mortgaging a piece of land would give me enough cash to monopolize a larger piece of land, then I wouldn't hesitate to take the opportunity. When I was in Cleveland, in order to expand my strength and gain the leading position in the oil refining industry of Cleveland, I owed huge debts many times. I even mortgaged my business to the bank. And I succeeded. I have created astounding achievements. Son, life is a process of constant mortgage. We mortgage our youth for our future, and we mortgage our life for happiness. Because if you don't dare to approach the bottom line, you lose. Isn't it worth risking our mortgage to succeed? Speaking of a mortgage, I want to tell you that when I received a huge amount of money from the banker, I not only mortgaged my business but also my honesty. I regard contracts and covenants as sacred things, and I strictly abide by them and never default on my debts. I have never forgotten to treat investors, bankers, clients, and even competitors sincerely. When discussing issues with them, I insist on telling the truth and never making any fabrications or equivocations. The rewards of honesty are huge. Before I left Cleveland, The bankers who knew my personality had saved me again and again from crises that I couldn't get out of. I clearly remember that one day, one of my oil refineries suddenly caught fire and suffered heavy damage. Because the insurance company delayed in paying the insurance money, and I urgently needed money to rebuild the business in ruins. I had to ask the bank for an additional loan. Now, I can't stop thinking about the bank loan that day. In the eyes of the visionary bankers, oil refining is already a high-risk industry, and financing it is a gamble. Plus, my oil refinery had just been destroyed, so some bank directors were hesitant to make additional loans and refused to lend immediately. Just then, a good man, Mr. Stillman, asked a clerk to bring up his own safe, waved to the other directors and said, "Listen to me, gentlemen. Mr. Rockefeller and his partners are very good young people. If they want to borrow more money, I implore you to lend to them without hesitation. If you want more safety, then this is it. You can take as much as you want. Son, honesty is a method of strategy. Because I pay honestly. I have earned the trust of bankers and more. And thanks to that, I have gone through difficult times and started on the fast path to success. Today, I don't have to go to any bank anymore. I am my own bank. But I will always be grateful to the bankers who helped me. In the future, you can manage your business. And you need to know that the purpose of running a business is to make money. Growing a business can make money, but getting out of a mortgage is also an important matter of managing and using money. If you focus on one function and ignore the other, you will fail. In the worst case, you could go bankrupt. And in the best case, you could miss out on a lot of opportunities. Managing and using money is different from the determination to make money, and requires a different belief. To manage and use money, you have to be willing to be hands-on and manage the numbers yourself, not just talk about management and strategy. If you carelessly ignore these details or entrust such details to someone else, you are ignoring at least half of the important responsibilities of your business. Details should never get in the way of enthusiasm. And the way to do it successfully is to remember two things: one is tactical, and the other is strategic. Son, you are on your way to a great life. This has been your goal all along. You need to be brave, and be brave again. Love, your father. If you are ready to apply this mindset to your own life, type "I am ready" in the comments. Let's affirm our journey to success together. Now, let's see what wisdom lies in the next letter. The seventh letter, the most terrifying thing is mental bankruptcy. November 19, 1899. Dear John, your mood has been so low recently, which makes me very sad. I can really feel your shame and embarrassment about your investment, which cost you $1 million. So, all day long, you are sad and worried. In fact, this is not necessary. A failure does not mean anything, and it will not put the label of incompetence on your forehead. Be happy, my son. You need to know that not everyone in this world has a smooth life. On the contrary, they must always live next to failure. Perhaps, it is precisely because there are too many helpless failures in this world, that the pursuit of excellence has become so attractive, that people are chasing after them, even at the cost of their lives. However, failure still will come. Our destiny remains the same. It's just that, unlike some people, I regard failure as a glass of strong wine. What I swallow is bitter, but what I spit out is spirit. Just as I took my oath to enter the business world, and knelt and begged God to bless our new company, a catastrophic storm hit us. At that time, we signed a contract to buy a large batch of beans and were preparing to make a lot of money. But unexpectedly, a sudden frost shattered our beautiful dream. The beans we got were half ruined. An unethical supplier also added sand, fine bean leaves, and bean straw to it. This was destined to be a messed up business. But I know that I can't be depressed, let alone lose myself in failure. Otherwise, I will drift further and further away from my goals and dreams. There's no free lunch in the world. And it is even more impossible to maintain the status quo. If you stand still, you are going backward. But to move forward, you must be willing to make decisions and take risks. After that business failed, I borrowed from my father again. To get to the top of the business, I told my partner, Mr. Clark, that we had to advertise ourselves. Let our potential clients know through newspaper ads that we were able to offer large upfront payments and supply large quantities of agricultural products. In the end, courage and diligence saved us. Instead of being affected by the bean accident that year, we made a considerable net profit. Everyone hates failure. However, once avoiding failure becomes your motivation to do things, you are on the path of laziness and powerlessness. This is terrifying, even a disaster. Because this indicates that people may lose opportunities that they might have had. Son, opportunity is a rare thing. People get richer and richer because of opportunities. Just by looking at those poor people, you will know that they are not incompetent or stupid. And they are not working hard, either. They are suffering from a lack of opportunities. You need to know that we live in a jungle during the week, where you either eat people or be eaten by others. Avoiding risks is almost guaranteeing bankruptcy. And when you take advantage of opportunities, you are depriving others of opportunities and insuring yourself. If you are afraid of failure, you will not dare to take risks. And if you don't dare to take risks, you will miss the opportunity in front of you. So, my son, it is worth paying for failures and setbacks in order to avoid lost opportunities and to keep our competitiveness. Failure is the beginning of a higher position. I can say that I have achieved what I am today by stepping up the spiral ladder of failure and overcoming failure. I am a smart loser. I know how to learn from failure, extract success factors from failure experience, and use means that I have never thought of to start a new business. So I would say that failure is a good thing, as long as it doesn't become a habit. My motto is, people must always be full of energy, always strong and persistent, no matter what failures and setbacks they encounter. This is the only thing I can do. I, myself, can understand what I do to make myself happy and what is worth working for. Fundamental expectations are like a broom in the hands of a cleaner that will sweep away all the rubbish on your path to success. Son, what are your own fundamental expectations? As long as you don't lose it, success will come. Optimists see opportunity in suffering. Pessimists see suffering in opportunity. Son, remember the formula for success that I believe so deeply in: dreams plus failures plus challenge are the way to success. Of course, failure has its lethal power. It can make people sluggish, depressed, and lose their fighting spirit and will. What matters is what you see failure as. The genius inventor, Mr. Thomas Edison, performed more than 10,000 experiments before lighting up Mr. Morgan's office with electric lights. For him, failure is the field of success. 10 years ago, a young reporter from the New York Sun interviewed him. And the young man asked him, "Mr. Edison, what do you think of your present invention that has failed 10,000 times?" Edison didn't use the word failure. He told the reporter in an elderly voice, "Young man, your journey has just begun. So I will tell you a revelation that will be very helpful for your future. I have not failed. After 10,000 times, I have invented 10,000 ways that don't work. The power of the mind is always so great. Son, if you want to declare mental bankruptcy, you will lose everything. You need to know that people's career is like a wave. If you step on the wave, fame will follow. If you miss it, you will be trapped in the shallows and the sorrow for the rest of your life. Failure is a learning experience, and you can make it a tombstone or a stepping stone. There is no success without challenges. Don't stop because of failure. Conquer yourself. You are the biggest winner, and I have confidence in you. Love, your father. The eighth letter: only by giving up will you fail. February 12, 1909. Dear John, today is a great day. Today, with special gratitude, the United States commemorates that great and rare soul, Mr. Abraham Lincoln, the first president worthy of God and humanity. I believe Lincoln deserved it. In my true memory, there is no one greater than Lincoln. He wove a successful and moving history of the United States. With his indomitable spirit of courage and generosity, he liberated 4 million of the most humble black slaves. He avoided the disaster that devastated the country, combining all languages, religions, skin colors, and races into a completely new country. The United States was liberated, and fortunately, it set foot on a high road of righteousness and justice. Lincoln was the greatest hero of the last century. Today, on the 100th anniversary of his birthday, the whole country remembers what he did for the United States as the clearest proof. However, when we reflect and appreciate his glorious cause, we should learn and magnify the special lessons of perseverance and courage in his life. I think the best way we can honor him is to follow his example and let his never give up spirit shine on America. In my mind, Lincoln will always be the embodiment of invincibility and perseverance. He was born in poverty and was driven from his home. He failed the first time in business, and the second time was even worse. It took him more than 10 years to pay off his debts. His road to politics was equally bumpy, losing his first state legislature seat and losing his job. However, he still did not lose heart. In the following elections, he failed 6 times, but after each defeat, he still tried to gain the upper hand until he was elected President of the United States. Everyone has experienced ups and downs and suffered ruthless blows, but few people are as invincible as Lincoln. After each unsuccessful campaign, Lincoln encouraged himself, "It's just a slip, it's not like you're dead and can't get up." These words were the strength to overcome difficulties and the weapon that helped Lincoln finally gain fame. Lincoln's life wrote a great truth: you won't be broken unless you give up. Success is a series of efforts. Those great figures almost all suffered a series of ruthless blows, and each of them almost declared surrender, but they finally achieved brilliant results because they persevered to the end. For example, the great Greek orator Demosthenes, who was naturally ashamed and shy because of his stammer. His father left him a piece of land with the hope of a prosperous life. But Greek law at that time required him to win a title in the public debate before claiming it. Unfortunately, he lost the land because of his stuttering and shyness. But instead of being knocked down, he tried hard to overcome himself, and as a result, he created a top speech unprecedented in human history. History ignores the man who took his fortune, but for centuries, a great name has been remembered all over Europe: Demosthenes. Too many people overestimate what they lack and underestimate what they have, and lose their chance to be winners. This is a tragedy. Lincoln's life is a great example of turning setbacks into triumphs. No one is lucky without failure, and it is important not to fail to become a coward. If we do our best and still fall short, all we need to do is learn from it and try to do better in our next endeavors. I honestly don't mean to compare with President Lincoln, but I have a little bit of this spirit. I hate business failures and losing money, but what really concerns me is that I fear that I will be too cautious in business and become a coward in the future. If that is the case, then my loss is even greater. For the average person, failure is difficult for them to persevere through, while success is easy to continue. But with Lincoln, this was the exception, and he would use all kinds of setbacks and failures to drive him to the next level because he had the perseverance of steel. He said, "You can't sharpen a razor on velvet." There is nothing in the world that can replace perseverance. Talent can't either. Having a lot of underrated talent and underachieving geniuses is common. The world is full of useless people. Only perseverance and determination will lead to success. As we continue to reach the peak, we must remember that each step is for us to step on enough time and then step on the higher one. It is not for us to rest. We are tired and discouraged along the way, but one boxer said, "You have to fight one more round to win." When we encounter difficulties, we have to fight again. There is an infinite potential within every human being, and unless we know where it is and stick to it, it will be worthless. Great opportunities don't stay still. We have to work hard to seize them. As the saying goes, strike while the iron is hot. That's true. Perseverance and hard work are important. "It's always darkest before dawn" is not a mantra, and when we work hard and develop our skills, our day of success will come. Today, when we appreciate and praise President Lincoln, what we must not forget is to use his deeds to inspire ourselves. Even if we do, we still have not yet reached the new day. We are still big winners because we already have the knowledge and know how to face life. It is a greater success. Love, your father. Knowledge is only potential power. Action is real power. If you are prepared to act, declare, "I am ready," in the comments. If you found value in this video, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe to unlock the wisdom from the next letters. Are you brave enough to hear the truth? I'll see you there.